happy tax day to any of you that have a job and have to file taxes. Did any of you work yet? Okay. Some of us. All right. Are we ready? Are we super excited? Can we get super excited and not be zombies? You're not going to promise that? All right. So the first thing I want to write down is standard form of a quadratic. And who remembers what that is from yesterday?
Y equals ax squared plus bx.
Yes, take a point. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is standard form. Oh, I do have a foldable for this. Well, ham sandwich. We'll be fine. All right, now to find our axis of symmetry, we use our equation. And we have a little formula that we wrote down yesterday, but just in case you don't remember or you don't know how to flip back, unlike the two girls who've been doing it this morning, to find your axis of symmetry, it's x equals the opposite of b divided by 2 times a. So you take whatever b is in your quadratic, you change the sign, and you divide it by 2 times a. Now, we're going to find our axis of symmetry. We're going to find our vertex. And you find the vertex plug in x to get y value. Because remember, the vertex is a coordinate, and the x value of that coordinate is always our axis of symmetry. And then the final thing is what? What else are we graphing? The y-intercept. Take a point. And how do we find the y-intercept? We wrote that down yesterday. Parabola. But we also said it was a specific part of our standard form. C. Good. Take a point. So it's whatever your constant is. And then we're going to graph it. So we only need 3 things. And then we'll be able to find the rest of the points from that. Because they're a mirror image of each other, right? So what you have on one side, you have to have on the other because it is a U-shape or a quadratic. So let's graph our first one. Are we ready? No? Where'd you go no? All right, A. That's how much I care. All right, let's go crazy. Y equals negative 3x squared plus 6x minus 1. Now, first things first. From our notes yesterday, how do we know that this graph is going to open? Is it going to open up or is it going to open down? Okay, so what's our x squared on this one? So is it going to open up or is it going to open down? Down. Good. Take a point. All right, so what's the first thing we need to find? What's in pink? And x equals the opposite of b divided by 2 times a. Now, if you don't know what a, b, and c are, label above your quadratic every single time. It's ax squared plus bx plus c. So what is our b in this quadratic? Not Whitney. What? 6. So what's the opposite of 6? Negative 6. Awesome. And Cameron, you get a point. Divided by 2 times what? What's our a? Negative 3. Take a point. All right. What's 2 times negative 3? And what's negative 6 divided by negative 6? 1. Dun, 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 dun. We have our axis of symmetry. What's the next thing we need to find? Vertex. And it says to plug in x to get the y value. So for my vertex, I'm going to take this x value right here and I'm going to plug it in so I can get y. So y equals -3. And what's my x value I'm plugging in?
1.
Times 1 squared plus 6 times 1 minus 1. Now, where did I get that 1 from? From your axis of symmetry. Remember, because the x value of your vertex is your axis of symmetry. All right, what's 1 squared? And what's 1 times -3? Awesome. What's 6 times 1? Minus 1. All right, what's -3 plus 6? And what's 3 minus 1? And this gives us the coordinate of 1, 2. So this right here is our vertex. Does everybody understand? Does anybody not understand?
I'm getting it.
You're getting there? Okay. That's okay. We're going to do more than one together. All right. And then our last thing that we have to find is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is always our constant. So what's the constant in our quadratic? -1. And we write it as a coordinate. What is the x value of our y-intercept? 0. 0, -1. Take a point. So, you know how we did it in a certain order? We went pink, blue, yellow. We're going to graph it in a certain order of pink, blue, yellow. So, draw your coordinate plane, please. And it doesn't have to be a huge coordinate plane. Mine's right there. So yours might not be color-coded like mine is. If yours is not color-coded, I want you to write 1 beside the axis of symmetry, 2 beside the vertex, and 3 beside the y-intercept. So you know that that's how we graph. Now the first thing we graph is our axis of symmetry, and it's x equals 1. And remember, your axis of symmetry is a vertical imaginary line. So you go write 1, and do not put a dot, but just make a dotted line, or a dashed line. Do not put a point. Do not put a point. Do not put a point. All right, next was our step 2. And what is our vertex? 1, 2. So go right 1, up 2, put a dot. And what's our step 3? Y-intercept, which is at 0, -1, so I just go down 1. Now, for it to be a parabola, for it to be a U or a mountain, we have to have the other side. And we know that the axis of symmetry cuts it in half. So if this is 1 unit away from our axis of symmetry there, we're going to go 1 unit away this way. Does that make sense? Because when you fold it, you want the points to touch. And then connect your dots. Dun, 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 dun. Magic. Now, is that easier than plugging all those points into a T-table?
Yes.
Okay. If it's not quite easier yet, it will be once we practice some more. And why did this open down? Because it was negative, because x squared is negative. Good, take a point. Who can tell me if this is a maximum or minimum? It's a maximum. And what's my range? When it's less than or equal to 2. Good. Ready for another one? Let's do one or two more together, just so we can practice. Does anybody have any questions? All right, B as in potato.
Are we able to get the key so that you can access it right now?
Would you like to do that many problems?
I mean, if it's worth it.
Just for me to say potato? Okay, maybe. All right, y equals x squared minus 4x plus 5. That's funny. All right, first things first. How is this quadratic going to open? Is it going to open up or down? Up. Why? Yes, because what's positive? X squared. All right, step 1, axis of symmetry. And our formula is the opposite of B divided by 2 times A. All right, what's our B here, Benji? What's our B? Yeah, it is. Good. Take a point. And so what's the opposite of negative 4? Positive 4. All right, divided by 2 times, what's our A? What number is in front of x squared? 1. Good. All right, 2 times 1 is? 4 divided by 2 is? Awesome. So where's our axis of symmetry at? 2. All right, step 2 is our vertex. And what are we going to do with that 2 to find our vertex? Plug it in to get y. Good. So y equals, everywhere I see an x, what am I going to put? A 2. All right, work that out. Tell me what you get. Does the color coding help anybody? Okay, good. Awesome. I'm a visual learner, so I like to see my steps better that way. You got 1? Good job. Take a point. All right, so how do we write it, though? Because it's not just 1, it's a whole coordinate. So how do we write our coordinate? 2, 1. And where did we get the 2 from? The axis of symmetry, because the axis of symmetry is part of the vertex. And what is our last step that we do here, Jackson? All right, and can you tell me what the y-intercept is? No. It's always C. What's our C here? It's in the form of AX. Wait, he's telling me. Thank you. It's always the constant. And how do we, take a point, and how do we write it as a coordinate? 0, 5. Good, take a point. Are we ready to graph? All right, let's draw our coordinate plane. We don't need any negatives on our y-axis this time, do we? Bum, bum. All right, what do I graph first, Donnie? All right, and where is my axis of symmetry? On the x-axis or y-axis? Good, take a point. And do I draw a solid line or a dashed line, Sean? Thank you, take a point. Nathan, do I put a point on that axis of symmetry yet?
No.
Good, take a point. Alright, what is the first point that I plot on my graph? Anybody? The vertex, which is at? So I go right 2, up 1. What is the next coordinate that I plot? Anybody? Which is 0, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, am I going to flip that blue dot or my yellow dot? The yellow. Flip the yellow. Flip the yellow. That's why we color code it. And if it's 2 units away here, how many units do I need to go to the right this time? 2. Dun, dun, dun. Did it open up like we wanted it to? All right, what are my solutions to this? Do I have any? Remember, solutions are where it crosses which axis? X. Do I have any? No. Did I have any on A? How many? All right, fantastic. 2 homework problems for tonight. That is it. Isn't it exciting? All right, y equals negative x squared plus 2x plus 1. And your next one, I won't make us go too crazy. Problem D, y equals negative 3x squared minus 6x plus 7. Yes.
Are you turning this homework in?
We are going to grade it in our notebook. That way we don't have to take it out or anything. That's a good question.